As time goes by, things that were once new grow old. In our industry, the easiest thing to do is to replace it with what we have. But with a little bit of ingenuity, creativity, passion, and hard work, we can bring things that are now old back to life. Today we're in Campbell County, Kentucky, just across the river from Cincinnati in Newport. We're here to see my old friend, Steve Abbott. He has taken his old kitchens and brought them into the 21st century. Let's go. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Steve, for the last 3 years, you've been in Campbell County, but almost everybody knows you from the state. You were on the audit team. What brought you here?
Tell you, I was fortunate enough to come to Campbell County to do a review with our team from Frankfort. I found a wonderful food service staff, supportive administration, and a great board who has bought into the changes that we want to make for the community here in Campbell County.
You know, Steve, I know when you got here, you had lots of hurdles you had to overcome, just like other districts out there. What did you do?
You know, I would describe them in three major pieces, that being that our equipment was in bad shape. We really needed to update our recipes, and our communication was not where we wanted it to be internally and with our families.
So those are three very big hurdles. Which one did you start with first?
Well, we started with equipment.
One of the first things Steve found when he came to Campbell County was that he had more money going out than he had coming in.
We found ourselves in a situation where our equipment was outdated. It was a situation where we were constantly having to have our equipment repaired.
With the rising cost of labor and the difficulty of finding new chefs, Steve knew that he had to do something different.
We are not able to replace equipment in all of our 8 schools. But when we can buy a versatile piece of equipment that has multiple functions, it allows us to go further with our money.
The Combi Oven, one of the most versatile pieces of equipment in the kitchen. In kitchens with multiple needs, the Combi Oven is one of the favorites among the managers. Is this one of your new combis?
This is one of our new combis. This piece of equipment allows us to do lots of things at once.
So you're telling me that by changing out your old ovens, you're able to be fiscally responsible and save money?
We actually are able to do multiple pieces or multiple things with this oven that traditionally with a standard convection oven you can't do. So we were able to take out pieces and buy one piece to replace multiple. So for me on my side, the ability to come in and have a piece of equipment that will steam and act as a steamer, it's vital to our operation. This piece of machinery, this piece of equipment actually allows us to do that. It does convection, it does steam, and this unit will actually act as a smoker.
The tilt skillet, one of the most underappreciated and underused units in the kitchen. Its versatility in terms of doing boiling, braising, and searing is unmatched.
In this tilt skillet, we're able to fry, sear, saute, we're able to boil. We can do so many things with this one piece of equipment. And between this piece of equipment and our combis, we are absolutely reducing our footprint by not having so many pieces of equipment. We're able to control cost in our district. We are able to then turn out some of the highest quality food possible for the children in Campbell County.
Saving money, saving labor, reducing food costs, and better quality food. Sounds like a win to me.
A win in my book.
But he couldn't do this all alone. He needed somebody in his corner to help push all these ideas across the line. So Dr. Wilson, Steve came to you with lots of creative ideas. What was your first thought?
Well, if you know Steve, you know he's a very energetic, passionate person, full of ideas, and all of those ideas focused around the student first. And I think that's what made me listen to Steve. Steve wanted to make sure that all of our students had an opportunity to have their basic needs met, and not only just meet their needs with food, it was to deliver something that was enticing, encouraging, and something that the students maybe couldn't have at home. He's come to me multiple times with multiple ideas, and each time he comes back with new products, new and exciting things for our students. And so my job is to trust Steve and to listen to his expertise and let him do his thing, because he's getting the results for our students and our families that we have never had.
But equipment was only part of the problem. As Steve looked around, he found that he needed to improve the quality of the food that he served the students.
You know, Scott, when I got here, one of the things that I found is that we could improve on food quality. The pizza burger that you saw earlier, that's one thing that we did to improve our quality.
You know, that pizza burger looked amazing and tasted even better. But how do you make sure that's something that the kids want to eat?
You know, while we love that recipe, that product has to perform. We use the data that comes from our meal service to determine whether or not that product stays on our menu. If students like, accept, and take that product, we will make that a long-term member of our menu. It's great to communicate with parents in advance, but if the students don't actually eat it, there is no nutritional value. As part of the process, we include children in taste testing. If vendors come in on specific days, we include select children to help us figure out what potentially will work on our menus.
It's this communication that was identified as a challenge. So getting the kids involved was a great way to help Steve solve that communication challenge. A key person in improving the communication was Marka. So Marka, over the last couple of years, you've been working with Steve to create new menu items for Campbell County. How important was it to work with the nurse for students with dietary needs or allergies?
So one of the things our nurse does for us is she gives us a list with all the special dietary needs or allergens that each student has. I then create a list for our girls to go in, and we keep it at the register, we keep it at our prep table. That way we know exactly what each student who has an allergy cannot have.
And the communication between departments was just one aspect. Steve still needed to focus on getting the message outside of the school and into the state of Kentucky. So you've done a lot of hard work getting new equipment, working on your menus. How do you convey that to the parents and students and teachers?
You know, here in Campbell County, we have just started a social media campaign specific to our school nutrition department. First, by developing strategies during COVID to communicate menus and food drop-off and pickup locations. We slowly developed into where we are today. For us, it's about accessibility. We are trying to make food as accessible to our children as we possibly can. So we are releasing information now to our households, pictures of the meals that are offered to our students, communicating some of those great things. That, along with an app that'll be coming out in a couple of months, will communicate all of the allergen information to our households, the nutrient information for the products that we serve. So we are hoping those pieces of communication really go a long way with creating buy-in in our community.
So Steve, where do we go from here?
Well, I'll tell you, Scott, we're going to be innovative and stick to our three things. We're going to keep using our new test kitchen, trying out those new pieces of equipment that will lead us to better recipes that we then can communicate internally and externally and work for the greater good of the school food service community.
Well, Steve, I've been greatly impressed with everything you're doing and the transformation you've got going on in your kitchen. I appreciate you inviting me to see it. And thanks for the free lunch.
Absolutely.